Hello friends, Ben Ochard here, and the Blackbeard algae experiment in this tank here is complete. And if you watched my last lap of the fish room, my fish room update, you already know a lot about the outcome. But for those of you who search videos just to handle Blackbeard algae, this video is for you, and I will show you what I did to get rid of black-bearded algae in a recently planted tank. Shortly after planting this tank, converting it from a no plant tank to a planted tank, black-bearded algae started showing up. In particular, in this area here, where there is more water movement due to the filtration, the hang-on back filter return, which is right above this area, and with that water movement, I was getting a lot of blackbeard algae. The anubias that was in this section, that was tucked into that groove there in that, that opening in that piece of wood, that anubias was pretty mucked up with blackbeard algae. You can see it here. And I took it out and I moved it over to the 29 gallon. This is my 29 gallon, normally a quarantine or hospital tank, but I've been using it recently for this experiment. And you can see here how this plant looks now. I mean, compare that to what it looked like when I first brought it over. And you can see it's just a remarkable difference. And this is with other options for food. Like you can see there is a little piece of cucumber, and you can see it's been eaten completely. As a matter of fact, the SAE, Siamese algae eater, is working on it right now as we speak. So there were other options, including Sarah algae wafers, but still, this plant was cleaned off. The cleaning started with some autosynclists. You can see some of them here. There's 4 of them in here. And the autosynclists did a pretty good job. And then I transferred them over here to the 55 and replaced them. Several of you had commented under the video that the SAEs, the Siamese algae eaters, were better at eating blackbeard algae. So I decided to go ahead and try one of those types of fish, and sure enough, the autosynclist did a decent job. But this guy right here, he really cleaned things up. Now this tank has water changes, but nothing else. There's no fertilizer necessarily. Actually, no, there is liquid fertilizer being used here, but no root tabs. And it is a normal Haiger light setup. Nothing special about the light. But I'm going to remove this plant now, and I'm going to put it back into the 55. It's going to take the place of this plant, which I had brought in just to fill in, but I think the Buenos Aires tetras are nibbling on it. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that one and put it into the 29 so it can recover and grow out a bit. So I'll use the 29 as my plant hospital. So what exactly did I do? In the case of this 55 gallon, I did include some phosphate pads into the filtration. So this is the Marineland hang-on back that I have, and I've got some of these phosphate pads on both sides working to remove phosphates, and I think they did a pretty good job. So there's phosphate pads, and then there's some root tabs that are helping these plants to thrive, and so they can outcompete for nutrients and beat out the blackbeard algae for nutrients. These root tabs are in the soil where the plants are planted in the soil, and so they're helping those plants to thrive. And then I'm also using, which is probably helping the Anubias, some of this Easy Green all-in-one. So if you can help your plants to thrive, they can outcompete with the blackbeard algae. So interestingly enough, while I was running my experiment in the 29-gallon, blackbeard algae was disappearing from this tank. And the factors, I believe, are the phosphate pads, the root tabs, the fertilizer, and the fact that I have an adjustable light. This is that Easy Plant LED from the Aquarium Co-op, a full spectrum light. And the feature that it has that made the difference, I think, is that it's adjustable. So I can adjust the light way up, and I can adjust it way down. And I think what happened, and here I'll show you that in a different way so you can see it a little bit better without the filming light on. This is the moonlight setting. You can see how bright this light can get. I think it has about 6 settings. Very bright. And interestingly enough, when I cut it back to about 40%, about right there, that's when the black algae started to really retreat. So I think the black algae needed a higher intensity light, while these other plants, especially the Anubias, were more efficient at converting low light into the amount of light it needed. And I think that also helped. So here I am running the experiment in the 29-gallon. Meanwhile, blackbeard algae is disappearing in this tank. So what one factor made the big difference? Well, certainly the autosynclises helped. The SAE did the best job at cleaning it up, but also phosphate pads, root tabs, fertilizer, and a type of light that can be adjusted. That's what made the difference in the 55. In this tank, I really just got to give credit to the Siamese algae eater. I think he's the one that really cleaned this thing up. Now I heard that the nerite snails can also do a good job, and I have one in this aquarium. And see if we can see him. He's really good at hiding. I'll take my word for it. I have one in here, but you can see the eggs, the nerite. You can see the nerite snail eggs on the wood. So I didn't want to get a bunch of white eggs, so I decided to not use the nerite snail as a blackbeard algae solution. Needless to say, I'm very happy with the outcome of this. And if you're having any blackbeard algae problems and have any questions about what I've talked about, just simply comment below, and I'll be in the comment section below, and I'll be happy to answer your question. Also, we'll talk about this and a whole lot more in the Saturday Cichlids and Coffee live stream. See here, Saturdays at 11 a.m. Central. That's noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. If you like the video and the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button, the notification bell, thumbs up, all that good stuff. And if you'd like to support the channel on a monthly basis, consider becoming a Patreon monthly supporter, a member of the Garage Gang. This is a garage, and it starts for as little as $3 a month. Details are in the description. Thank you, my friends, for tuning in. You're the best. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.